Scott, the Pirates actually got out to swing the sticks a little bit this past weekend down in Yakima. You had a fun little event with Whitman. Before we talk about that, though, let's just talk a little bit about the fall ended well.
Mhm.
You won the Fall Classic. What do you have the guys do over the off season to keep that momentum to make sure we're coming back fit and ready to go in the spring?
Sure. Yeah, we did end the fall fantastic with a big conference win on Willamette's home course. Willamette's currently ranked in the top 10 in the country right now, so anytime you have a chance to beat them, let alone, on their home course, was a huge, program boosting win and put us at the top of the standings, heading into the spring season. So it was great momentum to finish, and then in the off season, a lot of balls are hit in the indoor practice facility. Which is a really awesome addition to the golf program here. But at the end of the day, it's not quite like hitting balls outside. So the guys worked really hard on their games individually and as a group, minus the coaching staff, through the winter. And they went through a strength and conditioning program that I would say was really successful. And, so we always try to view it here in Spokane with the weather as, there's lots of other ways to improve as a teammate and a team member in addition to a golfer in the wintertime. And we met quite a few times, went to basketball games and stuff like that. So the camaraderie is there, and just kind of chomping at the bit for the snow to melt, so what really feels like the spring season could begin.
And it did begin. It wasn't quite what you initially thought it was going to be in terms of all four Washington schools. It was Whitworth and Whitman. A chance maybe to get to know another team a little bit better than normal. Talk about how you guys played that out this weekend.
Sure. Yeah, we started this last year, and we were hoping to make it kind of an annual tradition where the first event of the spring was a match play event, which means you're just playing an individual person or a team of two people or playing another team of two people, two opposite teams in match play, meaning, it's a hole-by-hole competition and you're not worried about your overall stroke play score. And for us, not getting to really play golf outside right now, it's really a good way to get the competitive edge going, but also not be so worried about, hitting every shot perfectly and the consequences of having a bad hole. If you have a bad hole, you just lose that particular hole. So anyway, it's supposed to be the four Washington schools, and PLU and UPS kind of had to back out at the last minute, so it left us in Whitman, which worked out well because Whitman is also one of the top, 25 teams or so in the country, as are we. So it was a great competition. We match up really well with them, and we ended up playing 9 versus 9, which GolfStat allows to be as a counting, collegiate golf match. Where typically if it's stroke play, you just play 5 and count the 4 best score. So we had an injury, and then one of our guys, who's also on the basketball team, was back in Pennsylvania playing the national tournament. We had a 9 versus 9 match, and in the first day it actually came down to our 9th guy versus their 9th guy to pick up a point. So we won 3-2 the first day. It was a best ball match play, so 2 of our guys versus 2 of their guys in 4 matches. And so it's a really unique opportunity for kind of the bottom end of the lineup, so to speak, to have an impact, on the standings. And then the second day was a singles match, so 1 through 9 versus their 1 through 9, and our guys played really, really well. And although we've hit a bunch of balls into nets and things like that, the chipping and putting has not been there at all, other than putting on a carpet indoors. So I was really impressed with just kind of the mental toughness and the steadiness of our guys making some putts, and some of that short game kind of hand-eye coordination things were really good, which you wouldn't expect to be that dialed in, at this point of the year. So, and it was successful. We ended up winning the match, and we had a couple guys who are kind of new to the conference. Jacob Raleigh had a fantastic fall. In fact, I think he finished the fall ranked 10th in the entire country, sophomore from Ephrata. Rarely made the lineup last year. And he took on their best player and won both matches. And Matthew Durkin, a freshman who we know is an absolute stud, but didn't have what would be considered his best fall, won both of his matches. So there were some highlights of some guys that I don't think a lot of the rest of the conference or even in the West here would recognize as some of the top players, but we know they are. Performed really well to start the season. So from a confidence perspective, which is part of what this whole event was, is I think it went really well.
And now you're going to take that confidence, and what's coming up next for the Bucks?
Yep, so we'll have this weekend off, and we'll probably have to sneak down to Pasco or Lucin or something and get around in and hit some balls. But we go back to Willamette's home course at Creekside Golf Club in Salem here in a week and a half, so not this weekend but the next. And that will be we'll take most of the guys on our roster, so not only to play in a really competitive tournament against Willamette and some other good schools, but also an opportunity to kind of get that stroke play tournament, play 5, count 4 thing going, and we'll use that as a qualifier for then the next week where we head to Alabama to play in what would be one of the top, tournaments in the entire country for the season that isn't the national championships. And we are playing really, really well when we played in that event for the first time last year and didn't play so well. So a little bit of a redemption run, and the cross-country travel, I think we kind of know what we're doing now in terms of what airport to fly into and where to stay and that sort of thing, and then just kind of the way the southern grass is out there was a little different. So everything is just kind of trending towards that tournament, and then that following week, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, is the Spring Classic, which at this point in Spokane looks more like the Winter Classic. But we have some big stuff coming up, and we're definitely getting ready.